Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You're mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimbley to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition. I'm your host for today, Joseph.
I'm Peter.
And no Tyler over there, but the Wheel of Destiny landed on my pick this week, and that would be Tiptoes. Gary Oldman in the role of a lifetime.
In a role of a lifetime.
Oh, what is that?
This is Gary Oldman's role of a lifetime. It's a role in his lifetime.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Of his lifetime? Yeah, of his lifetime, it is a role.
I like when people describe something, they're like, oh, this is one of the greatest movies of our generation, or whatever, or one of the great movies of our generation. Mm-hmm. And the step down from that is one of the movies of our generation.
It's a movie in a generation.
This is one of the movies of this generation.
It's a movie in the year that came out. Yes.
2003, it was there.
Yeah.
And it really happened.
It did happen. IMDb says 2002, but there's some things by 2003. I'm confused. But
well, it was shelved for a while because it's the movie that it is.
Yeah. So Tiptoes. But before Tiptoes, Tyler, again, is not here.
Yeah, he has previous obligations.
He's
cutting class.
He's Matt Smith right now.
Yeah.
Just me and Pete here. Going to talk about Tiptoes. Tyler did watch it, and he did review it, and so we'll read that when we get into our initial thoughts. But Tiptoes, directed and written by one Matthew Bright. This was the last movie that he directed.
Oh, really?
Yes. Not the last movie he wrote, or not the last thing that he wrote. He wrote one more thing after this, and it was a segment in a video called Tomb of Terror.
Okay.
That was in 2004, and he hasn't done anything since, I don't think. Tiptoes was his last movie that he wrote and directed. And before that, he did Ted Bundy. He directed and wrote Ted Bundy.
It was like a biopic?
I guess so. An homage.
Oh, yeah. a loving retelling.
Yeah. Before that, he did a movie called Freeway, and a movie after that called Freeway 2.
Oh, yeah.
Confessions of a Trick Baby.
Trick? What the fuck?
Trick Baby. I
don't know anything about that.
I don't know. He seems like he was kind of going for maybe a John Waters type of vibe, starring Natasha Lyonne and also David Alan Grier in that.
Wow, that's interesting.
In Freeway 2. But Tiptoes, starring Matthew McConaughey, Gary Oldman, Patricia Arquette, Kate Beckinsale, and a flurry of dwarf actors. Mm-hmm. Peter Dinklage, Ed Gale.
The guy from Twin Peaks.
Yes, David Alan Grier. Not David Alan Grier. The guy from Twin Peaks. And some recognizable faces like I've seen in I think the aunt. I think she, like the blonde, like the wife of the uncle. She was in Seinfeld one episode.
Okay.
I was surprised I didn't see Mickey from Seinfeld in this.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of little people in this cast.
Yeah.
And the plot of this has one sentence on Tiptoes, and it hides I guess, not the twist. There's no twist or anything about this, but the story of a peculiar love triangle involving two brothers. I wouldn't really call it a love triangle. It's more just like...
At the very end, you're like, this is happening?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I guess it is a love triangle of sorts.
It's a isosceles triangle.
Yeah.
It's just it's barely there.
Yeah, it's imbalanced.
One end is very little.
Yeah. Pun intended.
Very nice.
And Matthew McConaughey plays the male lead and Kate Beckinsale the female lead, and they are involved with each other. Kate Beckinsale's character is like an artist of some kind, and she does well. She lives in like a loft warehouse.
Yeah, she's making paper, painting walls.
Yeah, she's the Jackson Pollock of this generation.
Yeah, it's been said many times.
And Matthew McConaughey, he's not a firefighter. He teaches cadets.
He trains cadets how to be firefighters.
Yeah, drill sergeant style. And his brother is Gary Oldman, who is a little person, and his whole family is a little person. It's like that TLC show, Little Big World.
Little People, Big World.
Little People, Big World.
Yeah.
And Peter Dinklage is a friend of what's his name? Rolf. That's Gary Oldman's character.
He's a French Marxist anarchist.
Yeah, and then he picks up a hitchhiker, which is Patricia Arquette, who's like a hippie spiritualist type of person, who wears very short skirts and dresses all the time. And they're friends for some reason. And Maurice is just a character in this movie that has a presence in it for some reason.
I have thoughts about his character.
Basically, Kate Beckinsale doesn't know that Matthew McConaughey's whole family are little people, and he's the only non-little person. He's the only NLP.
Yeah. Oh, this whole time I've been at NLP, I didn't even know it.
His family is a bunch of LPs, are all LPs, and he's the only non-LP.
I think that's offensive.
Yeah, I don't know. LP, I mean, it's a music thing, right?
Yeah. Long play.
And so that's the reveal for Kate Beckinsale's character, is that she learns that his whole family is that after she learns that she's pregnant.
Yes, only after she learns she's pregnant.
Yeah. And Rolf he shows himself to her, not in that way.
He shows himself. What are you saying?
He presents himself to her unbeknownst that she doesn't know of his and his family's existence.
Yeah, he tries to go to his brother's house where he's not there. He's off on at work.
Yeah, training fire cadets.
And she's like, "You're his brother."
Yeah,
but you're a one of them.
Yeah,
might as well have said that.
I know. It was this was a very wild movie. It was a roller coaster, honestly.
I'll say.
It was like back and forth between emotions and characters' like motivations and how they feel about situations. It's like make up your mind. What are you doing? You know, he feels he feels one way, and then he goes back. You know what? I feel this way now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dialogue is, it's like not progressive, but progressive at the same time, because she's like non-PC.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't care about that stuff. And it's like, but you're like an artist. I feel like that you would be in
She should be progressive.
I feel like it's like flipped. I feel like he would be the one. But he comes from that environment.
And he also has a lot of like anger tied up in it. Like
He's a lot of shame.
Yeah, I think shame is probably the more correct word. Yeah.
Yeah, because there is one line where he's like, I'm a dwarf.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, this is both of our first time watches.
Mm-hmm.
And I put this on the wheel because it just seems like such a crazy concept to have Gary Oldman, Sirius Black himself, play a little person, acting on his knees,
literally on his, and with like shoulder prosthetics too.
Yeah, and they
try to make his body like
they tried to give him the stature,
like a homunculus on his shoulder or something.
Yeah, like he had a hump.
Yeah. What are they doing? Why?
I don't know. And then Peter Dinklage is there. Obviously, there's a bunch of actual dwarf actors there.
Is it like the Rolf's girlfriend, the uncle and aunt, his mom and dad?
Yeah.
There's like
there's the
Peter Dinklage himself. There's like 6 prominent ones.
I know. There, and then
like
there's
little actors.
There's the person who plays Gary Oldman's like double when his back is turned.
Yeah, he's definitely got a body double in a few. You're like, wait, where's his oh, it's a body double.
They got a child to do that, not a dwarf.
God damn it.
But yeah, I put it on the wheel because I thought it would be a fun to talk about because of this insane idea of doing this. So I guess let's get into it. Pete, what was your takeaway, initial thoughts for Tiptoes?
Well, the first thing I thought was, I was expecting this kind of offensive caricature of a little person by Gary Oldman, and I was right. It was like, not only is it like he's literally walking on his knees.
Yes.
Like there's an old comedy sketch called Dwarf on whatever. It's like Dwarf on dating, Dwarf on golf. And it's just like some comedian with shoes on his knees. I don't know if it was Saturday Night Live or Mad TV or something like that.
Sounds like a Mad TV thing.
Something like that. And it's just like a guy shuffling around on his knees, you know, kind of hobbling back and forth. And you're like, that's the level that they're doing with an Oscar-winning, not at the time, actor, fucking Gary Oldman.
In a role of a lifetime.
The role of a lifetime. And like, did they not realize that Peter Dinklage is right there? Granted, he's a lot younger, you know, maybe he wasn't as well established, and his French accent is definitely pointing to the fact that he got better as the years went on with his acting chops, because man, I was the first couple scenes with him, I'm like, what is he,
I thought he was British.
What nationality is supposed to be? I was like, does he have a speech impediment? Is his like tongue numb or something? And then at some point he says, oui, I am French. I am proud to be French. And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, audience, I'm French.
I guess he's French now. But so first off, it checked that box of offensiveness and like distastefulness.
Yeah.
Because not only they have him shuffling around on his knees through every scene, they also put this hunchback prosthetic sloppily under like a normal person's coat.
Yeah.
Like he's wearing like a normally non-tailored coat, so it goes all the way to the ground and covers up whatever, you know.
Trying to make him look smaller.
I guess. I don't know what the fuck it is, but he's literally shuffling into the scene on his knees.
I know, he's like kind of waddling, shuffling.
Yeah, and they give him a cane, so he's kind of going back and forth like this. And there was a part in the movie where I was thinking, oh, they could have done something really interesting here and really like spent some time talking about the unfortunate nature of, you know, you see a little person or a dwarf and you're like, oh, that's, you know, it's just gut shot. You see they look different than a, you know, normal person. And then, but there's so much more wrapped up in it. There's like, you know, illnesses and ailments and, you know, medical conditions that are wrapped up in it, you know, impact, or what do they say? It was like a bulging disc. Peter Dinklage's character. Herniated disc, yeah. And like other things that are just part of being a little person. And they spend precisely 2 minutes talking about that in this movie. And that's like, I feel like that's what Dinklage was. He was like the angry part of the dwarf community.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pissed off that this is happening to me, and this is the life I have to live. And I'm angry about it because I have all these ailments along with me. So I'm drowning it out with cough syrup and Hennessy.
Yeah.
You know? And like, there could have been something interesting there, but the way that this was edited, there was nothing to it.
Yeah, and the way that he was written, he was just there.
He was just a friend along for the ride on his motorcycle trip.
Yeah, he didn't
with Rolf.
He didn't provide any. He didn't need to be there for the plot of the movie.
No,
he was just his asshole guy he was with somehow.
Yeah,
like why was they with him?
And there's just so many strange choices in this. Like the character's name is Steven and his brother's name is Rolf.
Yeah,
Steven and Rolf.
Yeah.
Also, they're twin brothers.
Yeah.
Not nearly the same age in real life. Let's see.
Oh, IRL, yeah.
Let's see. McConaughey. I got McConaughey pulled up here. Let's see what he was. And he won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. Gary Oldman won his Oscar for Darkest Hour, but was nominated also for Mank and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And Patricia Arquette won an Oscar for Boyhood.
Ah, yeah.
So Gary Oldman. Let's see here. Matthew McConaughey.
Born 1969.
69. Let's see where Oldman was born. 1958. So
then
11 years difference.
11 years. He's 11 years older.
And Peter Dinklage and Matthew McConaughey are 6 months apart. They could have been the brothers.
But they don't look alike. Gary Oldman.
They don't look like Gary Oldman either.
They're uncanny. What are you talking about?
Like looking into a goddamn mirror. And it's like either McConaughey has to drop the Southern accent or Oldman has to pick up the Southern accent.
He kind of had it.
In the trailer, he's laying on that Southern accent real thick at points. And McConaughey's, it's about the least Tennessean his accent is in this movie versus others.
Yeah.
So
he's the biggest asshole in this movie.
Oh God, and he's not even likable. Yeah, you're like, but I guess it kind of makes sense because why would someone who's likable hide their family from this entire time? Like he is kind of a prick throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be this.
I wasn't sure who to latch onto.
I know, me neither. It's like that was my biggest takeaway was besides the weird choices of making Gary Oldman as Little Person.
Yeah.
Besides the stupid casting choice of having them 11 years apart and not look anything alike, and they're twins. They don't have to be twins.
It's like the movie Twins.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
That's a whole movie in itself, that choice, but there's so much more to it. Besides all those choices, the movie's just bad. Like, it doesn't make sense. You don't know who the protagonist is.
Not really sure what the conflict is.
Their motivation. And it's like the conflict is that she's pregnant with his baby.
Yeah.
And she finds out after it's too late that there's a chance that the baby could be a little person.
God.
Okay.
The interaction after that conversation.
Which one?
The one where she confronts him at the fire training place.
Oh, yeah.
That was like so cringe.
Where she's wearing her lucky hat.
Yes, that, but also just what she was saying.
So it's just a bad movie.
Yeah.
And it's almost 2 hours long, and I paused about halfway through, and I had to get up and do something. I came back down, and I looked at the thing. I'm like, 45 minutes left of this fucking movie. I feel like it's been going.
What is
Yes. Yes, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much bad movie. It's too much cringe. It's too much inoffensive, distasteful choices. It's too much shitty script. It's too much bad acting. It's all just too much. I don't like it. It wasn't good.
No.
But it was fun to watch and like laugh at. This could be added to the list of like enjoyable bad movies to watch.
Yeah.
And I feel bad saying a good bad movie. That we talked about that a bunch of times, and they have phrases. A lot of people know that. Miami Connection, Samurai Cop. Those are the two go-to. The Room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could call it a good bad movie. I just call it a bad movie that's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just because you're like, who decided this? And when you look into the lore behind the movie, and we'll get into it later, but Matthew Bright, the original script he wrote when he was 18, and this is an actual quote. Matthew Bright conceived the film when he was 18 as, quote, a raucous comedy about little people fucking each other. 30 years after the screenplay was written, Matthew Bright's stepfather gave a copy of the script to Cops creator John Langley,
Cops,
who was interested in producing Tiptoes. That's how the movie got started. As if the production itself wasn't weird enough. It became from the original creator of Cops. From an 18-year-old script, he goes, wouldn't it be funny if we had a bunch of dwarfs banging each other? That's where it started.
That's the inception of the whole thing.
And they're like, Matthew McConaughey, Peter Dinklage, Gary Oldman, Kate Beckinsale. Yeah, you can wear your hat. Bring it along.
Wear your terrible outfits.
Oh, God. Yeah. So anyways, it was disaster. This movie's a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
What do you think over there, Ben? Big Ben, number 7?
Jack's in the chat. What do you think about Tiptoes, Jack?
Jack, you seen Tiptoes?
Give us your thoughts. Should we read Tyler's next since he's...
Yeah, let's read Tyler's since I'm on the screen.
Yeah, so Tyler watched it and he reviewed it and he sent us his review.
Yes, so Tyler's... I haven't read this yet. Okay, Tiptoes, 2003 from Tyler Noe. What the fuck was this movie? It felt like a fever dream. The story, while making sense, felt so unnecessary to tell, or rather the way it was structured made it feel like it was unnecessary. Gary Oldman playing a little person felt very jarring, and Peter Dinklage was underused because I think he is a great talent and should have been more on the forefront of the story. I thought Matthew McConaughey does well in his performance, but I could not stop thinking of him as Rust from True Detective. Maybe this is a prequel to that story, told even though his name is not Rust Cole in this film. Mm-hmm. I don't know, all caps. But overall, this movie was offensive, boring, and just did not care for it. No emotional attachment to any characters, and I feel like this is a show they would show. This is a show they would show when I would go to Saturday school every weekend because I skipped class all the time. Grade F, end of report, half star.
Okay.
So
half star,
no
lowest
heart.
grade in a while.
No heart. Yeah, half star, no heart. F, grade F, end of report.
It'd be funny if he did a like.
Yeah, half star with a like.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of similar in that camp.
It's a bad movie, but I liked it.
Yeah.
So So yeah, thanks Tyler. Thanks for that.
I have a picture of Kate Beckinsale's lucky hat.
Okay.
You heard that story, right?
Oh, she has a lucky hat.
She agreed to do the film only if she could wear her lucky hat on camera.
Oh, really?
And that
Is that stupid?
the striped beanie with the long thing on
That's
it.
the hat?
That's the hat.
Oh my god.
That's her lucky hat.
What the fuck? That's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So my thoughts, my initial takeaway. I had a lot of fun watching this. I'll say that right off the bat.
Off the jump.
It was fun to watch. Me and Deanna watched it together, and we were just cringing and criticizing. Yeah, her outfits, that stupid hat that she wore.
Criticize.
It was a roller coaster of emotions, and when you thought it was over, it just kept on going. And then, because at some point you're like, "What? How is this gonna wrap up? How's this gonna end?"
Yeah.
Because a big plot point in the movie is the pregnancy, and then they bring up the idea of like if it's a little person, all the potential ailments that come along with that will be hard to deal with once the baby is born. And then once that happens, the tone shifts a little bit.
It gets depressing, even more depressing.
Because McConaughey can't come to terms with his own heritage, his own genealogy.
Yeah.
And he is basically just mad. He's not mad at anybody. He just hates himself. It seems like he just hates himself, and he hates where he comes from.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes him like a bad person because he won't seek counseling. He won't go to therapy.
Yeah.
That's brought up like briefly.
A couple times, yeah.
A couple times, but he just when he's in that room with that baby and they're at like a little person's hospital. There's like a little person doctor that comes in.
Yeah. Well, he's a specialist.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be more comforting if the specialist was also a little person.
Yeah.
Dealing with little person issues.
Yeah.
But he looks like miserable, Matthew McConaughey's character in that hospital room. He Kyle's the wall. He punches a hole in the wall.
He looks like he's just finished off. He does look like Rust Cole in that scene.
Yeah, he's
a man on the edge,
finished off a bottle of Jack or whatever, and he's
getting ready to go undercover.
Filled with rage.
The Iron Crusaders.
God damn it! My child's a little person.
He's exactly what we thought he would be.
Yeah, and I was so confused on how both he and her felt about the baby being born because I got mixed emotions from both of them on how they felt about it.
Yeah.
Because he comes from that world and he's like correcting her on the terminology.
He's a proud family of a dwarf.
But at the same time, he's like not that at all. So it's like
he's conflicted.
It's very conflicting. And I don't know if that's just from the writing. Maybe it's brilliant writing.
We just don't get it. It's like Megalopolis level.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's an interaction after it's revealed to Kate Beckinsale that his family is little people and he has that like genetic code or whatever that could,
recessive gene
that could pass on to any children that he has. She confronts him about it at work in front of all those students. She walks up in her like pajamas.
Yeah, really, she's in pajamas.
And then he's in the middle of talking to them. They're all sitting on the ground and they're just in a field. And he's like talking to them. And then he looks at them and he sees her and he's like, "Take 5, everybody." And they're like, "Okay, I guess we'll just sit here and watch you guys talk.
We'll just slouch." Yeah.
And I'm getting so many mixed feelings from her when she's like, "You didn't tell me that your family were a bunch of dwarves," except she didn't say dwarves. And he kept on correcting her, and he was like being, he was speaking for them. He was being the voice for them because he comes from that environment.
Yeah. And
that whole conversation, she seems so shocked, as if that's the worst thing that could happen to a baby that you're about to have. Mm. It's like you find out before birth, because we have the technology now, that your baby's going to have Down syndrome or something, and you're like, "Oh my, are you kidding me?" It's like the worst thing that could happen.
Well, in certain countries like Finland and Iceland, you can they require testing to see if the child has
that
Down syndrome or something, and then you can decide whether to terminate early enough.
Yeah, and it's like
which is a crazy thing to put your mind into, like this hypothetical situation that would be in.
I know it is insane, but it's like dwarfism, and it's like that you're looking at that as like a
life-ending ailment.
Yeah, like I want a child, not that child.
yeah, exactly.
It's such a weird concept.
Mm-hmm.
That like, but at the end of that conversation, she was like, "But what would it be so wrong if our child was a dwarf?" I was like, "What are you? You're the one who making a big deal out of it.
This whole thing was your idea."
I was like, "You brought it up. It should just be the fact that he just hid his family from you."
It's tonally all over the place, yeah.
And I was like, that's why it was like such a roller coaster of like, like everybody's feeling are conflicting with themselves. And I get like changing your mind, like you can change your mind. But like when he punches that wall, he goes outside, he comes back inside. He's like, "You guys all right? You guys all right?"
Nice.
You know, remember when he said that? It was an homage, I think. Just it's a movie he was in.
Yeah,
in the
I
past.
couldn't tell you which one though.
But yeah, it was like just kind of like just all over the place.
It was weird because it was like he was angry that his son turned out just like him, even though he wasn't a dwarf.
Yeah. Even though
Excuse me.
he like thinks that he's a dwarf because he exclaims, "I'm a dwarf," because he's because he's mad at himself for being that way.
Yeah,
I don't know. And Beckinsale's character seems like such an airhead when she goes to like the uncle's house without him and meets like his family. She's like learning all this stuff. Like she has never seen a little person in her life before. I've never heard of them. And
I got thoughts about that once your initial thoughts are done.
It was just, by the end of it, I was like, this was an unsatisfying and depressing ending because it just like ends with them together.
Stop it.
Spoiler alert.
Get some help.
She ends up with
Rolf. The dog from the Muppets.
Yeah. and his character
Comes out of nowhere, dude. That comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, there was a weird instance on like her wedding day where they kissed on the lips. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
but it was like, why did you do
I
that?
figured that was just a cultural thing.
Like, is that dwarf
That's
culture?
not dwarf still, yeah. It's like Eskimo kisses.
I will. One positive thing that I have will say about this is that got me. I was like, oh, that was good. Was when her parents come to dinner.
Yes.
And then
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then they're like, I got to bring it up.
we got to say something.
And then it's like you think that she's going to mention the
Protest to
the dwarfism.
Yeah.
And it's like will you have a Jewish ceremony?
Yeah, my dad's gonna die, and he's an Orthodox Jew or whatever.
Yeah.
He would be so mad. We couldn't get him to the wedding if it wasn't a Jewish wedding.
Yeah. That was good.
And then Rolf says, "Well, what if he dies soon? Can we switch it back to Catholic?" And everybody laughs about the grandpa dying.
Yeah. Because everything seemed to be
That got me.
Yeah.
That scene got. I was like, "Oh fuck,
Matthew Bright, you did it again."
you good for nothing, so and so."
Yeah. But it was a wild. It was. I can't hear myself.
Oh, you can't?
Nope.
What happened here?
Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go.
How about that? There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a wild. It was a wild experience, and I'm glad that I exposed myself to it. But my biggest criticism was the presence of Peter Dinklage's character.
Like he had no purpose.
And Patricia Arquette, like they just served no purpose.
Yeah, they're the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
There was already enough conflict in that story without them two.
And then David Alan Greer's in it, and he's Jerry Robin Jr.
He's got a shitty wig.
I know, and then he's banging someone in the middle of a party.
I know.
Just literally in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like not like in a bedroom somewhere. They're like in the dining room. We're surrounded by glass windows, and they just turn on the lights, and it's
like at the beginning of what's it called? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
but yeah, so that's Tiptoes. Well, I mean, we're still gonna talk about it, but
I know
that was my experience.
You want to go to just the two of us?
Yeah,
just the two of us.
No, Tyler.
Okay, so I want to read a couple of things that. Did you do any research into this?
A little bit. I know that the Matthew Bright was fired.
Yes.
At the end of it, by the end of the filmmaking process.
Yes. So the original cut was 2.5 hours. It was a 150-minute cut.
Damn.
And that was premiered at a film festival called the Harry Knowles Butt Numbathon.
What?
Yeah.
Butt numbathon.
Butt numbathon. Like you're going to sit on your butt for so long, it's numb.
Okay.
After that was debuted and played for the audience, Matthew Bright was fired immediately.
Wait, after the movie wrapped?
Yeah, after he cut the whole movie, the 2.5 hour cut.
Oh, the 2.5 hour cut. Okay.
And then it was already wrapped. He made the 2.5 hour cut. They debuted at this Harry Knowles Butt Numbathon Film Festival and was immediately fired from production.
Oh my God. Right when the credits are rolling.
Yeah.
Bright, you're fired.
Exactly. And Peter Dinklage says that the studio recut the movie into the version that we saw.
Yeah.
And he says that the original version was a beautiful, poignant, and fantastic film, and the people that recut it should be fired.
Sent to jail.
Yeah. Wouldn't believe it, actually straight to jail.
Yeah.
So after the film was re-edited without his involvement, the 90-minute producer's cut was screened at the 2004 Sundance Film Festival, where Matthew Bright had criticized the film and the producers for re-editing it. The producer's cut went on to receive negative reviews, obviously, and in some reviews, it had been called one of the worst movies ever made.
But Gary Oldman's in a role of a lifetime.
In the role of a lifetime. So I already talked about how Matthew Bright wrote the original script when he was 18 as a way to have a comedy, a sex comedy about little people fucking each other.
Wouldn't it be funny?
This would be crazy.
Get it? So there's definitely an exploitative nature
Yes.
about the inception of the story.
But what I have to say, though, is a 2.5 hour movie, that's a whole nother hour into this.
Another hour.
And I think that if it really was a more of a serious tone, maybe they were going to be exploring kind of the unsavory nature of just having a difficult life because of this, condition that you have.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that could be valid. It's like almost like, somebody living with, diabetes, and that's just a character. It's like everybody, not everybody, a lot of people got diabetes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a known thing, and people know what insulin, and you can't eat this blood sugar. You gotta kind of control that. Type 1, type 2, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But outside of just the appearance of somebody being smaller than the average person, what do you know about dwarfism?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, next to nothing. Next to nothing about like what actually goes on into the care of a dwarf child.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, leaning into the fear of, being pregnant and thinking that this could happen to your child, there's a lot of very valid fears that come along with that. The biggest plot hole, though, is that the overwhelmingly most common form of dwarfism is known as achondroplasia, is only possible to inherit the gene if either parent is a dwarf, which obviously is not the case. Neither of the parents are dwarfs. The less common form is heritable from dwarfism, is only possible to have a dwarf child if both parents' families have a history of dwarfism.
Ah.
And the film never talks about Carol's family having a history of dwarfism. Obviously, she knows nothing about it.
Yeah.
In fact, Steve being the only average-sized person from his family of dwarfs makes it overwhelmingly likely that he didn't inherit any of the dwarf genes from his parents. Therefore, there's almost a next to nothing chance of having a dwarf child between the two.
Well, science is a tricky thing.
And the whole time, they're like, there's a good chance this is going to happen. It's going to happen. You better prep for it. Let's read all the books.
But other than
I'll put you in touch with a doctor.
The doctor himself is the only one that is like, it didn't even say in the movie that that the baby does have dwarfism, did it?
It doesn't implicitly say,
but it heavily implies it.
It heavily implies it.
Because they're like doing a bunch of tests.
They're going to give it hormone treatments all the way up until its age of 3.
Is that because they know it's a dwarf, or is that just like a just in case?
I'm assuming it would be very strange to just in case give your kid hormones for the first 3 years of
just
their life.
Just in case, because obviously we're going to know when he stops growing.
And it's like this is just going to speak to my ignorance on the topic, but can you tell
like when the baby's
born?
I mean, because there's like certain stature.
It's a smaller baby.
Yeah, it's a tiny baby.
It's like
even tinier baby.
Its arms are a little shorter or something. And it's like it's all just none of it's good. None of these thoughts that I'm thinking are like positive. The movie could have helped us normies.
Yeah. Non-NLPs.
Us NLPs not be able to like navigate and like learn a little bit about the culture and society of little people.
Yeah.
I loved the what do they call it? The event, the venue that they go to, the convention.
Oh yeah,
They have the little person's
because
convention.
it's like an organization that it's like helps like support a little. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what they did.
Yeah, it's more like just telling people, hey, you can't just use this for every time that there's a elf in a movie or something. You know, we're not just your clowns. You know.
Yeah.
Which I think that there could be a similar sort of like push from the albino community.
Yeah.
Every movie that you see an albino in, they're a weird person or an evil person or a ghost or a vampire or something, and you're like,
Yeah, like the Matrix, they can go through walls.
yeah, powder, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's the one from Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh,
He's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
And you're like, can't you just have like a normal dude who's albino?
Yeah, why? It's strange because now you get into the territory of like I mean, Gary Oldman playing a little person surrounded by actors who are actually little people. It's like,
Yeah.
you get into the topic of, well, that person shouldn't play a trans person, or that person shouldn't play a gay person because they're not gay or they're not trans. You know, you get into that sort of territory where it's like, to only hire like a disabled person, someone who's actually in a wheelchair.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
and I feel like with that, there's like, there's a line. There's definitely a line.
Yeah.
That there is a cutoff. Like there's a movie coming out. It's a Disney movie, and I can't remember the name of it, and the main character has cerebral palsy, but it's played by a actress who has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And it's like I understand if you were to get a person with non-cerebral palsy to play that person,
Sure.
that would be an issue. It's like the music situation.
Oh, I see. Like you don't want to like put on blackface, but with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, disabled face.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's what Oldman's doing this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, you get Dinklage there.
He's putting on dwarf face.
Yeah, dwarf legs.
Dwarf legs.
Fuck. I don't know. What's to say?
Stop laughing, Joseph.
What's the terminology?
Stop.
I Am Sam situation.
I'll defend the movie. Love it.
It's like,
but I understand.
It's like there's a line somewhere. You know, you get people from that community,
Simple Jack,
to support you. It's like Eddie Redmayne in Danish Girl. You know,
I don't know that one.
He plays like the first woman to, and historically the real woman who, like the first trans woman like documented. And
really,
it's like,
I don't know about this movie. I kind of want to watch it now.
It was a Tom Hooper movie, and
Eddie Redmayne plays the trans woman.
Yes, he won an Oscar for it.
Wow, I had no idea what that was about.
And looking back, Eddie Redmayne has said, maybe I shouldn't have taken that role. So he himself has admitted,
Hunter Schafer needs to play all trans women.
I guess so. So you get into that world of, or even Matthew McConaughey playing someone with AIDS in Dallas Buyers Club.
You should really put Magic Johnson in there.
I know. It's like someone doesn't have to have cancer to play the person the character who has cancer, but someone with cerebral palsy should be played by someone with cerebral palsy.
But doesn't RJ Mitty, he doesn't have cerebral palsy or muscular dystrophy? The guy that plays Walt Jr. in Breaking Bad?
I don't know. I don't actually know.
He puts on that affectation of his voice.
He does have a movement disability.
Does he?
I think so.
So, the place I come down on that is it's such a complicated topic. I won't shame really anybody for making those choices, unless it's egregious. And this is egregious.
Yeah, because it was not necessary.
It's like the Supreme Court case with Larry Flint. What is pornography? What is smut? I don't know, but I'll know it when I see it.
Right.
It's like that's too far.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman shuffling around on his knees with shoes stuck to them and sitting inside a couch, so it looks like he's got the
legs,
body. Bro,
he looked like a Muppet.
Why are you doing? Yeah, exactly.
A Muppet sitting on a couch.
And again, I can't overstate the fact that they put a hump on him.
Yeah,
and they're like,
he's deformed.
Yeah, they're like, well, I mean, we want to make him the size of a little person, but we also got to deform his body. It's like, come on. There's like the whole cast is full of like little people too. And you're like, this is what we think of you. We want to, if you didn't have a humpback, we'd put a humpback on you. Yeah. We want to make you this weird blob that also he has like thick bifocal lenses.
Yeah.
And
make his eyes look bigger.
So it's kind of like, they're trying to highlight also his physical ailments that come along with the condition.
Yeah.
But none of the other actors have the bifocal thick Coke bottle lenses.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the continuity? What's the message?
Yeah.
Maybe it all got caught out in that extra hour.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of stuff. Maybe there's more about the her discovering that the baby might be a little person, and like in the context of the movie, in this world, like there's a chance it might be a little person. Like, do we want to have that? Do we want to? It's like because I mean, the way I looked at it, is like, is this like a pro-life versus pro-choice type of situation where it's like not wanting a kid because it might have an ailment?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. What do you think? It's not for me to say. That's your choice.
Yeah. I mean, then it gets into the further question of abortion and how far into the abortion, is a person's life, and does it matter, and like abortion based off of like convenience versus life-saving aspects of the pregnancy.
Yeah, and also like quality of life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, the babies might have some problems. Might have some problems.
Yeah.
Is that like big problems or little problems? Well, little problems.
Big world, little problems.
Big little problems.
Jesus Christ. Are we going to hell?
Maybe. Ultra hell. So, there's that question that doesn't really get brought up that much in this cut of the movie. Maybe it's in the 2.5 hour cut, the bright cut. Mm-hmm. I did find it pretty funny. Yeah. It was definitely comical at some points.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to say.
But yeah, and it brought up a lot of questions for me, and I'm glad I watched it.
Me too. I'm very glad I watched it.
And
Heather's not glad she watched it though.
Oh, she hated it.
She tweeted out that she was watching it because of us, and then she just retweeted with like a GIF of Bert and Ernie where he's like coming to the realization that something terrible is happening. That one.
Oh yeah.
He says, "Me staring at Pete right now.
I've made a mistake.
I
put it on the wheel.
I told her blame Joseph, even though I'm excited to finally watch it."
Yeah. Oh. Man.
Tiptoes annoyed me because there were actually parts that could be a decent movie with an interesting conflict. Put Dinklage in Oldman's role and get rid of the Marxist and the hitchhiker for a start. Hey, that's what we said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would make so much more sense.
The other thing is they shoehorn in the quote unquote love triangle.
Yeah.
Like at what part of the movie is Rolf engaging or romantic, or
he's not like going after her and she's not going after him.
He's not even particularly like a super strong voice of reason. He's just kind of like a brother who's saying common sense shit.
Yeah.
It's not like he's overtly like enlightened or anything. He's just like, don't be ashamed that your kid might be a dwarf. Cool. Congratulations. Give him the humanitarian award. He's just like a guy who's just saying common sense to her.
Yeah.
Compared to her asshole boyfriend with the rock hard bod and giant wang that you see at some point when he's getting into bed with her. I was like, oh yeah, he was in Magic Mike. I forgot. This dude is unbelievable.
I know when you see him in like his tidy whities, and I'm like, damn, that guy is carved out of stone.
I know, for real. The dwarf baby's gonna be carved out of stone too.
That dwarf's gonna have 6-pack abs.
Fuck me, dude, this movie.
Yeah.
I would you recommend people to watch this?
I don't know. It depends on the person, I think.
My answer is yes.
Anybody?
100. Yes, everybody.
You should watch it. It's really bad.
Everybody. Yeah, it's like our 3-star movie conversation last week.
Yeah.
And this movie's mid. You should watch it.
This movie's not mid. It's
No,
definitely
it's bad.
lower than mid, but it is a fun time to watch.
Oh, there are 2 parts in the movie where you can see
his
Oldman's legs.
Yeah.
His real legs, we didn't even talk about the shitty CGI.
Yeah, because it's barely in it. Because most of the time it's shot from like his mid-thigh up.
Yeah. He's literally just standing on his knees.
Yeah.
One of the reviews I saw of this is a 1/2 star, and it says, I hope Gary Oldman gets lifelong knee pain because of this. And every time he thinks about it, he thinks about the kid Tiptoes.
Yeah.
I don't wish that to happen to him.
Imagine running into Gary Oldman. You have a DVD of Tiptoes. Can you sign this for me?
Please.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's not a wizard
No.
in real life, but he played a wizard.
Yeah.
It's the same
Why do
thing.
you get a wizard?
It's the same thing. Get a real wizard.
He's not a spy.
Get that guy that was running for like the New Hampshire Congress or whatever.
He doesn't actually work for
There's a boot on his head.
secret agent.
He's not really a Tinker Tailor soldier spy.
He's not a tinker. He's not a tailor or a soldier
He might be a tailor.
or a spy. Yeah, and he's not a ruler in a sci-fi future with plastic.
With the plastic shell on his shaved head.
Yeah, that talks to planets.
Yeah. Told me not to bother you unless it was Mr. Shadow, and it's Mr. Shadow. Could you tell me what his character's name is in Fifth Element? The full name?
No, it's like Zeebelvorp or something like that.
His last name is Zorg.
Zorg.
But he has a full name. Do you know what it is?
No.
Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg. Is that mentioned in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He says it himself as he's introducing himself to somebody
Oh, okay.
with very great effect.
What is his role?
He's the CEO of Zorg Industries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was just like some fucking guy who was rich.
And the guy, his assistant's like, Mr. Zorg, profits are down. And we suggest laying off 500,000 workers. And he says, fire 1 million.
Yeah, and he's like,
Well, we only need 500,000. I said fire 1 million.
and he's like from Texas.
Yeah,
He's like
exactly.
from the South.
I love that movie.
That's his role of a lifetime.
Yeah. What else could be a role of his lifetime for him?
Sirius Black. I mean,
Oh, the guy from Leon the Professional.
oh yeah. Everyone.
Also, the guy from True Romance.
Gordon Freeman. Not
Yeah.
Gordon Freeman. Gordon.
No.
Gordon. What's his name? Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, Commissioner Gordon. Yeah.
Dracula.
Oh, fuck. You're right. That's the role of a lifetime. Crossed oceans of time to find you.
Yeah.
I love him in that.
Those are the most notable ones, I think.
Fuck this movie. I just can't believe they showed his legs there. Like
Yeah.
they couldn't. Like someone watched it and was like, "Oh, you could." Fine, leave it in.
Yeah, just whatever.
Twice.
Yeah.
I saw the one time, and then I saw a thing later that showed the clip of it under the coffee table. You can see it, and you're like, "Bro, why?" They just gave up at some point.
Just the fact that he is just on his knees, surrounded by everybody else, walking around next to Matthew McConaughey, and he's just like a full-grown man, just walking on his knees. And they give him like when they're in the motel, and he comes out of the bathroom, has a robe on. It's like an oversized robe, just to make him look smaller.
Yeah, it's
And then him getting into bed, like he just kind of like
jumps. It's what little kids do when you're playing house and someone has to be the baby.
Yeah.
Or the little toddler, and they walk on their knees with the shoes on.
Yeah.
Like I remember doing that when I was a little kid, playing an even smaller kid.
I can imagine.
Not in front of a camera on a multi-million-dollar set.
So this came out in 2002. At the time, before Tiptoes, Gary Oldman had done Hannibal. He was the Fifth Element. He was in Lost in Space. I guess.
Unrecognizable in Hannibal.
He was in The Scarlet Letter, Leon the Professional, Romeo is Bleeding, True Romance, Bram Stoker's Dracula, JFK. He was in a bunch of stuff. He was already Sid and Nancy. He was Sid Vicious.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
He was already like a name. He was already he was lead roles. He was fucking Dracula. And the fact that he does this movie, that Matthew Bright, who had only done 4 movies that were all not great, according to IMDb, he is directing the man who played Dracula
In Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula.
is bananas.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Coppola directed that, right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Well, the fact that you got,
That's the pull that John Langley from Cops has.
I guess so. You got Gary Oldman to get on his knees and play a little person. He read the script and he's like, "This is a role of a lifetime." for me."
Role of a lifetime. I can hear it now. Oscar.
I know.
He was gunning for that Oscar even back then.
Was that the expectation for this?
I mean, you got to go into every role expecting you're getting an Oscar.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that only 3 years later he was Jim Gordon. And even in 1 year before that, he was Sirius Black.
Yeah.
You go from Tiptoes to Sirius Black. You go from Rolf to that character.
How many years later was he Sirius Black?
3 years.
Fuck, really? This movie, it feels way older than 2003.
Yeah, because the topic.
Maybe it was greenlit in 1999 when like anything was getting greenlit.
Yeah, I
It just
guess
took that long.
that's just crazy to me.
The shooting took so much longer because he had to shelf around on his knees.
Yeah,
Anything else?
can't imagine the knee pain. Actually, like he must have had like knee pads walking around.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, then the CGI shoes that you would see sometimes were all like grainy, and you could definitely tell that it was terribly done. It's almost like you should have just cast a little person.
Well, almost like that.
Yeah, and then David Alan Grier's random role in that, it just was why were you in that? why were you like this sort of what's his name? Little Richard type character
Yeah, exactly.
with like this terrible wig, like a Jerry curl, but like a wavy Jerry curl.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me of his character from Jumanji in the early days.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Tiptoes, insane movie that is terrible, but it was fun to watch.
It was that.
All right. Yeah, let's throw some grades on Tiptoes. Tyler didn't give a grade, did he? Just give it
He said no. He said
just half star.
I don't know. Let me see here.
He said half star, no like.
Here we go. He says F, grade F.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Failed.
Yeah. All right, Pete. What
Oh
are
God.
you giving Tiptoes?
I mean, everything in me tells me this should be a failing movie.
All of Kate Beckinsale's stupid hats in this movie.
But something about it,
Some sort of
something.
There's a certain je ne sais quoi.
There's the overall like vibe of it
It's got a secret sauce.
is it has some redeeming qualities. Like at least a few. The dinner scene alone gives it a half star bump because like that ridiculous dinner scene.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They did throw a curveball at you though. With
I'm giving Tiptoes a D minus.
all right.
D minus. Barely missing.
Barely passing.
Barely passing. Yeah, and for all the reasons we already talked about.
But I did love this movie. I didn't love this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't love this movie.
Let's go for it!
Definitely did not.
Yeah.
How about you?
All right. Yeah, I think I'm in the same page pretty much. I just solid D for dwarf.
There you go.
Good point, Joseph.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah, it was just a bananas concept from the get-go. Probably very exploitative in nature, but it seems like Peter Dinklage has some praise for the original cut. Said it's gorgeous or beautiful, and we're just never going to see it.
Yeah.
Release the bright cut.
Yeah, that's what we really need.
Yeah, 2.5 hour.
Tiptoes bright cut.
We want a 150-minute version of this movie.
I'd watch it. I would for sure watch it. Absolutely.
I definitely watch it over Rebel Moon.
Oh God.
Snyder cut.
Don't remind me. I still committed to watch both of those.
Oh God.
Both
There's
the
two
Snyder
of them.
Cut, both the Snyder cut. Somehow. Hold on.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Zack Snyder convinced me to watch 4 movies by making one movie. I don't know how the fuck he did it.
The son of a gun did it.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it was like a fun to watch, terrible movie made maybe in bad faith.
Yeah, watch it with friends.
But it was a comically good time. And yeah, I'm glad that we got through it.
It's really something.
Yeah. So watch it. Streaming on Prime.
Yeah, of course. So all the gems go to.
Yeah. But now we're done with that. That's off the wheel. And now it's time for the wheel.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
That's right. Tiptoes off the wheel. And Joseph, you have a replacement pick. What are you going to replace it with?
All right. I kind of been thinking about this.
Big decision
Yeah, big decision.
every week.
This one wasn't on the wheel for that long, I don't think. But yeah, I've been kind of thinking about this. I've toyed with this idea, and I think I'm going to do it. So in the past, we've done The Godfather, and all of them. Like they stayed on the wheel the whole time. Mm-hmm. We did the Before trilogy, stayed on the wheel the whole time till we watched them all, and then Dune, kind of.
Yeah, we did. That was in 1 week.
Yeah, one go.
Ultra cut.
Yeah,
because that's one movie.
Yeah. But
I'm afraid
there is a part 1 and part 2 of this movie, of this franchise, I should say. I've never seen it. Never seen either of them.
I have no idea what this is.
And this is gonna be we're gonna enter the world of Paul Blart.
Paul Blart?
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 Paul Blarts?
Yeah. Paul Blart, Mall Cop 1, Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2.
I've seen Paul Blart.
Have you?
Not the whole thing, start to finish, but I've watched it and I'm like, this is fucking the worst.
Paul Blart, Mall Cop. And I figured we did Tiptoes. Might as well just continue on this trend of not good movies. And I'm pretty sure there's a second one. Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2, right? Yeah, there is. 2009 was the first one. 2015 was the second one.
Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. Back to the segue.
Yeah, so the Paul Blart
universe.
Yeah. Franchise. And luckily there's only 2 of them. Maybe not luckily there's any of them.
Yeah. Jack is confused what you're doing.
Me too. I'm confused now. I'm in a strange
that's all right.
Strange time in my life.
Yeah. He hit puberty and now he's making bad decisions.
You know, it's 108 in October in Sacramento, and I'm not thinking straight.
Ball Plart Call Mop.
Yeah. Call Mop 2.
All right. Well, we got that on the way. So you're going to leave the hunt, right?
Yeah, I'm leaving the hunt.
Hopefully we'll get the hunt first and then we can put both of them.
Yeah.
Fill it up back to back. Okay.
And this isn't, what was the movie we reviewed last week? Grizzly Man, right? No. Wasn't it?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm so shitty with that. Let's see what last week. I want to say it was Grizzly Man. Oh, no, Turtles.
Oh, I tried Turtles.
Grizzly Man was before that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be the Wheel of Destiny right here. We got 8 selections on here, 2 from each of us, and 2 from the Patreon pick. And Tyler's here, so he forfeits his pick. If it lands on one of his, we're going to spin again.
Okay.
That's what happens. I don't really know if we're going to do that or not, but... Well, we already reviewed one of Tyler's movies when he wasn't here. Roadhouse, right?
Roadhouse, yeah.
We picked it, and then he wasn't here.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we got Paul Blart, Mall Cop from Joseph. The Hunt from Joseph. Lars and the Real Girl from listener Chris. Identity from listener Ryan. Falling in Love like in movies from Pete. Olympus Has Fallen from Pete. Broadcast News from Tyler. And Cyrus from Tyler. So this is the spin. This is what we're going to do next week.
An eclectic selection. Not Paul Blart.
Oh, it's The Hunt.
Alrighty.
2 in a row.
Fucking liberals.
Yeah.
MAGAs, Proud Boys, what have you.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, so me and Pete will be rewatching The Hunt. Mm-hmm. Tyler will be watching it for the first time. Even though he was there with us.
He's seen some scenes.
Yeah, he saw the beginning.
The first scene and like the last scene.
And then the end.
It's in the middle where the pig was there and he's like, why is there a pig there?
Yeah, don't do or don't go listen to our first review.
I think you should listen to it. It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was our last field trip before the coronavirus took over.
Yeah.
And it was the last time we went to the theaters for a while.
Tyler was physically there.
He was present.
But
no, he wasn't present. He was there.
He was physically there. His physical body embodied the seat in the theater.
Yeah, it was there.
But what was going on upstairs, who knows?
Yeah, I looked over and there was definitely...
There was snoring.
The eyes were closed.
Yeah. I'm like, Tyler, you're snoring. He woke up. MAGA! MAGA!
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah.
It was a strange time. It was like so when I started realizing maybe I shouldn't go to the movies with Tyler.
Yeah, that was pre the ban. I saw 2 movies with Tyler after that, and before we realized he has to go to a different screening.
Yeah, I know. We saw The Green Knight, and that was the second to last. That was the actual last movie.
I saw Crimes of the Future with him, and I think that was the last one.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna go back to The Hunt, and that's streaming. Let's see.
Probably on Max.
The Hunt, not Mads Mikkelsen's The Hunt. This is Betty Gilpin's The Hunt.
Yeah.
Directed by Craig Zobel, According to IMDb, it's streaming on Freevee, so Amazon Prime. You can access it there, I think.
Cool.
At least here in the old US. But yeah,
I think I like this movie a lot.
I've only seen it the once.
I think I've rewatched it once since then with Brianna at home.
Yeah.
And Betty Gilpin is just the best. She's so funny in this.
Yeah, she's
so good.
She's the lead, yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Alrighty.
Cool. All right, so next week we're going to watch The Hunt. But for right now, thank you to our cool-ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. If you want to support us as well, you can hit us up on the Patreon, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. But following on the YouTube is just as impactful. Maybe not just as impactful, but it helps out. And we're still running today we made the first post for our physical media giveaway. We've already had a few people share it. Heather has, Bruce has, Joel has. There's a post on the Facebook page. There's a post on the Twitter account. Just follow us over there, and we'll give all the socials in the closing comments. But you can win any of these. We're going to give two giveaways away, one on the YouTube subscribers list and one on the people that are sharing. So share it with your friends. The hope is that we get more people subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you guys get some free physical media. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Until next time. Thank you for joining us as we review the absolutely ridiculous, terrible movie, Tiptoes. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast. And send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
And don't even think about going to the comments or to the show notes and looking up our voicemail, because it doesn't work.
Yeah. So just send an email.
Yeah, just send us an email or even a voice memo. That'd be fine too.
Yeah. Send us a voice recording.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See ya. You guys all right? You guys all right? All right.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week. See you later. See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.